Indeed, and we have cross positions on Lost Temple. So I'm gonna predict drops from RedAlert and a lot of them. I know that sounds rather generic, but I think the type of aggression that RedAlert does is really, really targeted. I mean, he doesn't go for random drops all over the place. He goes for very strong drops. He'll drop like 4 Hellions in one place rather than dropping 2 in another. So he really hedges his bets. And I know Avoid, he's gonna love this. He's gonna fast expand like it's his job. And I think RedAlert, he needs to take some notes from that last match. I mean,
whoops, you may have cut out there. You still there?
get pretty much out macroed straight up, and he just didn't have a tech to deal with it. I mean, he had enough units, he just didn't have any way to cope with a high Templar, and that was sort of the end of the game right there. So I think a RedAlert's going to have to learn from this, and it looks like we are cutting out. So Harlequin, you take over while I...
Yeah, I got you now. That was good. I think it was just a little temporary hiccup there. But yeah, I totally agree with you. That's, not only is it always a good idea if you're going bio to get ghosts against Protoss just for their EMP ability, but to specifically target the EMPs onto the clusters of Templar is the best way to counter the Psystorm, to at least take them out of the equation, because then they just run around with nothing to do and they turn into Archons or something. But it looks like RedAlert's just kind of doing an opening here. He's got kind of standard barracks there on 12 or 13. Meanwhile, Avoid, I love, I say this a lot, anybody who's heard me cast before, but I love these little denial of information tactics. If a single SCV were to walk into this base, it would take him a little while before he found the fact that the pylon was way up north and there was a gateway there. For a brief moment, the player thinks to themselves, oh crap, I'm being proxied. And they might even panic for a second and think. But really, it's just Avoid saying, I don't care, I'll just put these bases wherever I want.
Yeah, and I mean, at this level of play, it's not the difference in like just raw skill level, because I think these players are fairly evenly matched. I think the difference is these little things. They really, really pile up. Positioning your units properly, scouting on the right time, making multiple observers so you have total control of the flow of information. It's just so important, and I do agree that that placement of his gateways is really good, and I don't think it's really under threat of air like Banshees, because I think once Avoid gets on 2 base, you can pretty easily get some Phoenixes out to deal with anything like that.
By the way,
I think this is a really good tactic.
I'm worried about this build order here, because he was kind of joking. RedAlert joked with him and said, I think you should go all in single base Void Ray. And suddenly, kind of looks like that's exactly what
so ridiculous.
Void is doing here, actually. He's got a fast Cyber Core, he's got a single Zealot, he's not trying to waste any gas, and he's got a very fast double gas up. That kind of seems a lot like a one-base all-in Void Ray attack.
Yeah, and I think RedAlert...
Yeah.
RedAlert finally scouts that. I think he was running scared for a little bit. And like any good player, once he sees that there's nothing in the base, I mean, this late in the game, 4 minutes in, you got to expect some sort of tech building in his base. Avoid, now that he sees the SCVs on the way out, is going to throw down his Stargate. So, yeah, with his concussive Marauder push committed to already, I think he's going to be in big trouble, in for a big surprise once his Void Ray pops out.
What a good feint, too. I love the idea of it's a good idea to get this anyways, but a lot of times you think if you're rushing for Void Rays, you don't want to waste any gas. But not only did he research Warp Gate and Chrono Boosted, but he did it in plain sight. And he let RedAlert see him getting a Warp Gate research, and as a result, looks like a normal 4-gate push. And RedAlert just left confident in his build order. And yet we suddenly see that he's just got the single Stargate now. He's ready to go. 1 sentry, which is always a red flag that you're trying to hide something if you're walling yourself into your main. This could definitely be a game-deciding... single Phoenix? Oh, God. This is the kind of crap that Avoid always does. And I'm not saying it's crap. But
no. He cancels it.
Okay, good.
Thank God. I was about to get very, very upset.
I was going to say, it's not like it's crap, but it's just like, he just kind of just, throws random things out in very important games. He's just like, oh, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and, go Phoenix. Yeah, all Phoenix Marauders. Why not?
No, don't worry, Harlequin. It's certainly crap. So I'm glad he's cutting that and getting a Void Ray like he should, because Void Ray is definitely a lot more viable than a single Phoenix that you can like lift up a single Marine. But I really, really like this. I mean, he has a really solid composition right now. That Void Ray is just going to make this push so ineffective, because there's only 2 Marines in here. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know if Void's friends with Azlul, but I picked my dog in this fight. I know who I want to win, but I think RedAlert, he could just expand. There we go. Perfect timing on his expansion. But well, perfect assuming the normal flow of things. I don't think he realized this is Void Ray.
Oh, do you
And
see him jump
yeah,
that Void
such
Ray?
a good move. As Harlequin is pointing out, good denial of information, moving that Void Ray back. So I don't think RedAlert's going to know what's going on. Okay, he does suspect something. He's making 2 additional Marines. But this is going to be an interesting push. I don't think Avoid has enough of the ground army to make the impact he needs to make. But I do think he can force a contain of some kind.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how this Void Ray micro goes here because, like you said, his ground army is going to get obliterated, but that Void Ray is probably going to clean house if it's not properly countered. I hope he's got another one.
He needs some micro. He needs some micro. Oh god, and he's going to lose his
no!
just a few Marines. Or is he? Yes, he is.
Stemmed up Marines, and there goes that idea. I think
that
was
just
the push he had in mind, but alas.
Yeah, and Avoid has really high resource right now. There he goes, expanding. And I think I'm not. I think he does need another sentry. I don't know about a nuke, but I think what he did here is he did a build he's not used to. I mean, if we look at the timing on it, it was a little awkward because he didn't have that many units out. He was floating a lot more cash than he needed for a fast expand, and I think if he had just fast expanded like he normally does, he would be in a much better position. But right now, RedAlert has expansion up way ahead of time, and instant saturation with that base. So we're going to see his income start to climb ahead of Avoid. But Avoid, very good macro player. He does have 10 more harvesters, even though he invested in all that tech.
Yeah, I'm really curious kind of where he was going with that idea, I mean, a frontal assault with a tiny army and 1 Void Ray, strange move. I maybe he was hoping it was all Marauders, but really we've seen RedAlert before. He doesn't leave himself open to attacks like that. I almost would have rather seen a Void Ray come in the backside of his base, and when the army goes back there to fight it, have his small attack force poke in the front and do some damage to the expansion. I was kind of expecting an alternating attack like that, and nice potential for Phoenixes here, but of course RedAlert.
Look at that.
Yeah, I was gonna say RedAlert's no chump. He's done this before. He's got the 1 missile turret up. He's ready to defend. But still, I love picking up guys who are making buildings. That's always cool.
Yeah, not to harp on my fanboyism, but I was actually pretty impressed by that move by Void. He very quickly canceled the Phoenix because, of course, I don't know if you guys know, well, Protoss players at least know that there is a Graviton Beam bug. So you have to cancel the Graviton Beam after you kill the unit, or else it'll just stay there stuck in animation, not doing anything. So very quickly reacted to that turret and got out of there, and still killed an SEV, and he delayed that building time a little bit on that barracks. Yeah, so at the very least, if this is doing nothing else, it's forcing RedAlert to make a response, and he hasn't lost any Phoenixes yet. So these can come into play later in the game when if there's tanks or anything like that. But I think RedAlert's defaulting to bio again, and I don't know if this is the greatest idea here. I think unless he's planning on pushing like right now, okay, maybe he is. Unless he's planning on pushing like right now, Void's gonna basically do the same thing he did before. And now Void has the time to macro up. I don't think he should be making a Void Raid though. I think that's the absolute worst thing to make against such a Marine heavy force.
Mm-hmm. I agree completely. I think he needs to let go of this idea, get back to his fundamentals, do what he did last game. He knows how to counter bio. He needs Templar. He needs a big army of Warp Gate type units, and he probably needs to get rid of this Phoenix play. I mean, it's not a bad thing to have if you use them correctly and you lift up the Marauders during a fight and stuff like that. Let them tank a little bit. But here we go. See if he's going to get that Phoenix micro.
So he's got to lift some units up with those Phoenixes. He needs to make them pay for themselves. And this is not looking good for Void. That stim's really doing damage. But those nice force fields are going to delay this push. And I don't know. Does he have a warp cycle prepared? There's just so many units out there. He's going to be forced to pull off some pills off the line.
Oh, I think that's going to be game over.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a game. Yeah.